Squad up, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of The Squad.
I
Uh-oh.
was gonna scream, but I don't know why I didn't. It's like I thought about it and I was like, ah, I was at peace and I didn't feel like it. So,
And that's
squad.
okay.
I think everybody be bracing sometimes when they be listening. I'm just like, squad.
And that's all right.
Yeah. See how peaceful that come across your speakers today. Squad.
How are you, Jay?
Squad.
Oh my goodness.
Hey man, it gotta come out somehow. Um, I am in a place of revelation on something.
That's good. That's a good place to be.
I had some conversations today that I was just like, okay, some things are starting to make sense as far as certain generational curses in my family. And there was one that I didn't really never process.
Mm.
It never came up to me until today when I was talking about some stuff. And I was like, wow, that's a problem too. And it never surfaced
Mm.
until today when I thought about it. I was like, wow, that's an issue. Why we don't really talk about this issue? This the issue that's really the issue for a lot of things. And I was like, and just being transparent, I realized that there can be a generational curse of sacrifice.
Elaborate.
So what I mean by that is, in at least from what I viewed from my personal experiences in my family, that people will sacrifice everything that they were supposed to do due to duty or due to survival or due to any other reasons why they just felt like they had no choice but to sacrifice. And in turn, doing those sacrifices, they then lose out on the opportunity or the potential to become everything they were supposed to be.
Mm.
And they blame it on the fact of, I had to sacrifice for this, or I had to sacrifice because of you, or because of them. I had to sacrifice.
Mm.
And it'd be like key things like I had to sacrifice me wanting an education. I had to sacrifice me wanting to become this. I had to sacrifice da 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 this in order to do this. And it makes the sacrifice then look like burdens.
Mm.
And I had the realization today that when I actually had to sit back and really had to look over everything, and I realized I sacrificed all the time since I was young. I would sacrifice. And I realized that I haven't truly lived yet
Mm.
because I was gotten so used to sacrificing that I have not even reached what my full potential could be due to the fact that I sacrificed in key moments that I shouldn't have. Or I treated certain things as if I had to, therefore I cannot become this or do this or try this out or use this particular gift or because I have to go do something else because people depend on me, or I can't do this because I have to make sure this is done. All different types of things. I would sacrifice the nature of me possibly thriving because I could only see the present things or issues that I had to deal with that were more than just my own.
Mm.
So in turn, I stunted my growth in a lot of areas to make sure a lot of other people had shine or to just survive the day instead of being out on faith and giving things to God during certain times.
Mm.
I would sacrifice. And in turn, it also comes from the mentality of being trained as an athlete too, because you're taught grind and sacrifice in order to make things happen or to become who you want to become or to accomplish goals. But when you're already a person that's already accustomed to sacrificing things so much, it can be a toxic circle. And you just add on. And when people start coming around with more issues or things like that, instead of you having the time to process and be like, oh no, I shouldn't be taking these things on, it's just a Tuesday to you. Oh, this person has these things that you're gonna have to sacrifice and some things you have to do in order to help them. It's Tuesday. Not that this is a big thing and you need to maybe process this. No, I'm already stuck in the loop. Just add something else. I'm already sacrificing. What else can possibly add to this? I don't already sacrifice everything else. What's another sacrifice type thing? So have some thought on that today. And yeah, realize I haven't truly lived at all. And even in moments when people thought I was living, or either seen that I was accomplishing things or have done things, and people like, oh, Jay did this and Jay did that, I was probably putting in either minimal effort on the only effort I could give at the time because I had sacrificed so much. So I wonder what it would have looked like if I didn't, if I actually became my best instead of sacrificing my best or becoming my best in order to survive or fulfill duty or what I saw as duty. Because maybe it wasn't duty. Sometimes maybe it was a warning, but I saw it as duty. So yeah, that was the thing. That was the day. I was like,
Hmm.
wow. But then I saw that once I processed it, I saw it in other family members. I saw it in stories that ended up becoming a part of my story of people having to sacrifice in order to make sure others thrived, or a sense of duty. I have to sacrifice because I have no option type thing. When you did have an option. And I feel like, from what I've seen around in my family or generational curses that I think I'm trying to break, that's the one that's in the background that nobody talks about.
Hmm.
But it's usually one that might pop up in conversation when it comes to anger and unforgiveness.
Right.
So like this the one behind the scenes as the puppeteer of the anger and the unforgiveness. Disguised as something, oh, this is something I had to do. No, no, no. God said, cash your cares. But instead, we chose the opposite way. Oh God, I can't trust you with this. I gotta be able to handle this. Or the toxic version of how the enemy will mess with your brain. I can't pray to you about this. I need to handle this. I put myself in this. So I gotta figure it out.
Hmm.
That ain't how that go. It ain't how it's supposed to go. But then it becomes a vicious cycle of sacrifice, anger, and unforgiveness. You sacrifice, and now you're angry at the people you had to sacrifice for. You sacrifice something, and now you're angry at the position that you're in now. Or you sacrifice this, and you shouldn't have, and now you're stuck in a problem. You sacrifice this, and now you got your kids don't love you like they supposed to, and now you feel like you sacrificed in vain. All different types of stuff. When he didn't want you to sacrifice at all, he just said, give it to me and trust me, I'll handle it. But instead, we'll go sacrifice. And that in turn, I think, is what has affected my fasting sometimes. Because so I think spiritually I come into a thing of where I'm fasting, but it just feels like another sacrifice. So it just get lumped in with everything else some days. And I don't feel like that. So I'm processing that out and gonna pray on that so my fasting can be better. So I
Mm-hmm.
won't feel like I'm sacrificing. I'm more trying to build a relationship instead of me feeling like, oh, I don't need to be doing this in order to get to you. Okay, cool. I won't do that type stuff. And it's not something I constantly think about. It's just things I can tell that pop up in my mind in other ways and is linked to it.
Mm.
and it's a sneaky one, especially if like you hood in ways, or from hood areas, or you grew up poor, or in between funds, as my grandma would say, instead of broke. Um, or you had parents that worked multiple jobs and all this other stuff, and that's stuff that you've seen.
Hmm.
Sacrifice was just necessary.
Right.
But there are moments in those times where I look back and be like, not just me, but just looking at other people's situations, now that I can see it for what it is, those are moments when we should have gave it to God rather than thinking we can do it on our own and sacrifice to make it. But because we didn't give certain things to God, we in turn felt like we had to sacrifice. Which also links into this wild thing about us not having to sacrifice, things in order to get with God when it comes to, ceremony and tabernacle and all that. But that's a whole nother like hole I went down, and I was like, maybe he did this way because he also said that them sacrifices ain't worth nothing. So then that was that conversation. So yeah, I went down a rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
When it comes to fasting and stuff like that, um, what God has revealed to me and helped me to understand is that under because I'm all about wellness and stuff, God knows how to speak to me about things regarding the benefits versus the downfalls. And
Hmm.
so when I look at certain things, I acknowledge that there are and also it just takes like understanding what fasting really is, because
Hmm.
there's a scripture that talks about what fasting really is. I cannot remember what it is. I can't ever remember what a scripture is, but I know it's in there. um but he talks about how what fasting really is practicing the fruits of the spirit, basically. At the core of it, fasting and practicing the fruits of the spirit is the same thing. You're putting down your flesh because your flesh don't want to practice the fruits of the spirit. So you're putting down your flesh and picking up your spirit. And it's not God saying like, if you don't do this, then you can't get close to me. It can affect your relationship with him. Um, Especially if he's asked you to practice the fruits of the spirit more and you just not, and you just being disobedient. Um, but yeah, it's not always like you don't need to eat food. It's actually be kind to
Well, it's
your
not about that.
neighbor. It's actually be kind to your neighbor. Don't gossip. Put others before yourself, and not in a way of like you don't take care of yourself, but like don't be selfish, basically.
Hmm.
I need to find that scripture. But yeah, when he revealed that to me, and I was better able to understand fasting because I struggle with it as well. Um, but it's really just understanding like this is it's not what we thought it was. It's not what we were taught. It's not just all about not eating food. What is distracting you most from God? What separates you from him? Do you recognize how it separates you from him? Do you recognize how it has a negative effect on you and how you show up in the world for him? So that's how God helped me understand fasting, and I hope that helps you see it a little bit differently. And whoever's listening who maybe hadn't thought about it that way, I hope it helps you as well.
I'm probably going to listen back to this one. I know I'm to listen back to the episodes anyway, but I'm probably going
Hmm.
to listen back to this one more intently to understand it because it's something that I'm just
Yeah, and I'll send you the scripture. I
processing.
I really cannot remember what it is.
It's probably written down.
It might be in Isaiah. Um, but yeah, I am glad though. I'm always glad like when you have revelations, when we have revelations as we grow. I'm always excited about that. Um, And so I'm excited that this is something that God has revealed to you, that you were able to get a clearer understanding of, because now you can grow. Like, you can make the steps to grow. You can ask God, like, to help you grow, to ask you to, you can ask him what you need to do in order to grow. And so that's always cool to me. Like, sometimes it's hard. Like, when God be revealing stuff, it's never easy. Some things is like, oh yeah, this should have made sense a while ago, or I should have caught this a while ago. Or sometimes just like, oh, that makes sense. And then other times you just break down, wall sliding in the shower.
Yeah, that's the moments.
Cause
Like, bro, like,
you don't want to
ain't
face
you
it.
get the wall slide. I get the arm on the wall, head down on arm type situation where you just be like, ah, I get it now.
And that's
Oh,
how
why did
God,
I
like,
understand this
God's
before?
been doing me that way this week. Like, like your revelations are like, oh, that makes sense. My revelations are like, my revelations are me breaking down. Because what God, and I tweeted this, but what God is really revealing to me is that the hardest part in life is not realizing that people aren't who we thought they were. It's realizing that we aren't who we thought we were.
Right. And I heard you talking about that before. Of
And
the conversation was just like
it's
we thinking I don't want to say that we think we better than what we are. It's just that we really don't have a grasp on
yeah. And
what
so
truly is happening.
God is like, I thank God for that. Like, it be hard. But I really thank God for self-awareness, because I'm able to, like, catch those things and really grow. And he started to reveal them to me when I started saying, like, something. I started coming to him and saying something is wrong, and I don't know what it is. Can you show me what's, because something is off. And when I started speaking to him about that, that's when these things started coming up, or I started noticing these things about myself. And I'm realizing
Hmm.
I'm not who I thought I was. I thought I was this good person. I'm trash. Um, I thought
Wow.
I was always so kind. I'm selfish, and I don't want to be. And God is revealing to me the ways in which I am selfish. And it's a very wild ride. One thing that God revealed to me is, and I had been hearing about it a lot. And I was like, okay, because I had never necessarily thought about it before. But I just figured, like, okay, I'm hearing about this a lot. Let me really pay attention. And then I heard about it again from my mom, because she went to TD Jakes conference, the leadership conference. And I
Hmm.
asked her, like, what she enjoyed about it, and she told me one of the sermons, or one of the nuggets that she picked up. Um, and when she said it, it like convicted me deeply. And it was because I, like, in that moment, I realized that is something that I have been doing and I didn't even know. And the thing that she was taught, that stood out, or that she mentioned, was witchcraft prayers, and how
Ooh.
you pray for things to happen because you want your will, not God's. And
Wait. Rewind that back. Like, throw that back. Witchcraft prayers are prayers where you pray for your will and not God's.
yeah,
Woo, that's heavy. That's
it's
heavy.
very
Hold
heavy,
on.
because it's in, and she talked about how they preached about how, like, it's, you'll think, like, in your mind you have the best intentions, but really you just want your will because you want your way. And
You think you had the best intentions because you want your will, because you want your way.
and she was telling my mom was telling me that she's, like, encountered stuff like that, where she was in a prayer group and somebody was praying something along the lines of, take this person out of this position so I can get this job. And I was like, ooh, I ain't never prayed like that, but oh my. But I have prayed witchcraft prayers, and a lot of people have and probably just don't know it. But when you pray stuff like, um, I hope they break up so such and such can come to me, or I hope, or can you make this person see this so that they can see me this way? That's a witchcraft prayer. Um,
Conjuring.
basically. Um, and coming out of witchcraft, that hurt. That cut me deep. Cause I was like, I don't want to be like that. Oh,
Yeah.
these breakdowns be wild. But um, yeah, that's that's it. And like I do my best to like make sure I'm praying God's will anyway, because there was a moment where I had to like really look at what I was praying for. And I was like, I don't feel right praying about this. I'm not gonna pray about this no more.
And I
And
think it get tricky because sometimes we be in that thing like, well, Lord, if you would allow.
yes, but then at this point, I'm really just like, I know what I want, but your will be done. And it's just because your will is always going to be greater than mine. What I think, what my human mind can conceive is nothing compared to God's. And also, it's honestly, when we pray witchcraft prayers, they're always from a place of selfishness and manipulation. And you're not considering the other people involved. You're just concerned with what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when you pray for people who are sick to live for a long time. God may be trying to free them from that pain.
Mm-hmm.
Or you or like the prayer where you want people to break up. Like, do you know that hurts people? Like there are other people involved.
Mm-hmm.
um
And don't be can.
right. Um
It's just like, I don't know, bro.
and no, I ain't prayed for nobody to break up or nothing like that.
Nah,
Um
but I done heard about it. I done seen somebody pray that live. You ain't telling me nothing. Listen,
but I have prayed
I
something like
think
a
I might have prayed that back when I was younger and didn't know no better.
oh, I have. Like
I
when
don't
I
know.
was younger, like not it hasn't been like a recent thing. It was when I had a terrible understanding of God. And I was like in middle school or something. Um
We don't know no better. We slow.
exactly.
I'm
But
sorry, I be just throwing that out there like that, but slow for me means different things.
but as an adult, I have prayed something thinking like it would be for somebody else's best intentions and things like that or whatever. But really it was rooted in selfishness and what I think is best for the person. And that ain't right because I'm not God.
Right.
um so yeah, that's been something I've had to reckon with uh on Sunday. That was my Sunday. Um
That was a Sunday.
that was my
Good
Sunday.
Lord. All right. So let's open up this can. Oh, no, just
Nah, nah.
nah.
Um, but yeah,
I wouldn't want
that's
to even if I knew.
yeah. Um, I can't even remember. I'd have to go to my prayer journal to figure out what else me and God been talking about. Because when I tell you, it's just been hitting me back to back. I'm just like, all right, whatever.
And you just be like, all right, bro. It be there some days. You be like, all right, God. All right, you wilding. All right, I'm tired now. Can I go to sleep? I don't want no dream. I just want to go to sleep. Just let me be right now. You done overwhelmed me. There's a lot going on. I just want to lay here.
Pretty much.
Nothing. It's like you're doing a lot, not prepared. Hey, turn me loose.
um, but yeah, and then also, listen, you would be so proud of me. I made an well, I'll call for a friend too quick. I made an acquaintance at work on Wednesday. Um, we got the same taste in music. Uh, they're just a nice, they cool to talk to. I don't talk to folks at my job. I do not talk to people at work like that. Um, and it's just because I just don't click well with it. I ain't gonna say I don't click well with everybody, but like I can
No, I
kind
get
of
it.
I can read like and it's not judging a book by its cover. It's just like I'm very reserved at first because I have to observe. I'm reserved because I have to observe. And so
I'm reserved. You sound like me, boy. You remember how I used to post up at Auburn that conversation? I used to be hugging a wall
mhm,
because I
I'm
have to observe.
yep, I'm reserved because I have to observe.
I'm reserved because I have to observe. That's a that's a shirt.
And
And need to put
so
googly eyes on it.
so that's what I do a lot of times at work. And so a lot of times like I don't talk to a lot of people at my job because I watch and I'm like, okay, well, um, um, I don't really see what we could talk about. If we do talk, like I'm not just gonna write you off or anything like that. And if a conversation sparks, then a conversation sparks. But this particular person, a conversation is spark, and this is not the first person at my job that I've had a conversation with. Um,
Mhm.
but all that to say, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm talking to people. Um,
Being trying to be a part of community. Ain't nothing
yeah,
wrong with that.
and it excited me, especially I get excited about music, especially like
Very much so.
they like Christian music, they like Christian R&B. I be on my Christian R&B heavy, and
Yeah, off the podcast, I need you to teach me more about that, but because I got questions.
it just has the
Maybe
vibe of
it's me.
R&B. It has the vibe of R&B, but it's Christ centered. That's all.
Because never mind. Go
Just
ahead.
like Christian rap. It's rap, but it's Christ
Yeah,
centered.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's like R&B is like I feel like rap is a little bit more wider of a art form. When I hear R&B, I'm just like interesting. And I'm just like, how that work? But then I'm like, because in my mind,
It's
if
the
it's
vibe of
Christian
it. That's all.
R&B, wouldn't it be gospel? Like in my mind. But
No,
I'm just
and
like,
that's just because gospel has sectioned itself off, and that's a whole thing where folk don't want to call Christian music gospel and all this other stuff, and because this ain't gospel and gospel. What I think of as gospel is the gospel. It's sharing God's word. It's sharing Christ. That's what the gospel
no,
is.
I get it.
Um, but when people speak of gospel, they are more
Mm-hmm.
concerned with the musical genre and what it sounds like, what we're used to, basically Black Christian music, and the cultural Black Christian music that we know. Um, and so people have talked about, Maverick City music is not gospel. Okay, they're sharing the gospel, but okay. Um, I would say Hillsong, but Hillsong got some stuff going on right now.
What you talking about here? Song got some stuff going on.
It's a
Off the
documentary
podcast.
out. There's a documentary out. Ain't no off the
About what?
podcast. Like this is known. There's a
I
documentary
don't know
out.
now.
It's on Discovery TV. And
No wonder I don't know.
my mama watched it this weekend. Um she ordered the app so she can watch it.
That's wild. She went and got a free trial just to go watch here. song.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I because when her and I were talking, I was able to like catch clips of it or whatever. But um yeah, they got some stuff going on, so I don't really know. I know their music done got me through some times. So
Right.
um
As it done a lot of people.
um so I don't know. I'll have to do more research on that and find more out about that for myself. Um but even people have their own things to say about Maverick City music. Um I like Maverick City music. They coming to Birmingham and I really hope I can go. Cause it's
I ain't know
them.
116 was here this week.
They was here yesterday. I had a ticket, right? And I didn't go. And I didn't go because
Uh-huh.
I I saw this
Did you get socially awkward before you went?
no, I just saw this thing where like Lecrae was holding up like the devil's horns and 666 thing with the Illuminati symbol type deal. And so I got a little bit iffy. So that's why I didn't go. Because I just I have to do more research for myself. And so I was also upset because it would not let me get a refund or exchange the ticket for something else.
Of course not. Where you ordered from?
Ticketmaster.
Yeah, nah.
It wasn't even
If it
Ticketmaster.
ain't
They
sports
didn't no,
advances.
no, it's not even Ticketmaster. Like they said, because I tried to get a refund and they were like the person, like the 116, they're not doing refunds.
That's interesting.
I said that sucks.
How much was the ticket?
I think I spent $50.
Enough?
Yeah.
Enough. I was like, I don't know why I asked that. Enough. Okay.
So I really wish that I could have like exchanged that ticket for the Maverick City and Kirk Franklin and Jonathan McReynolds concert,
What day is that?
June 6th. Or the
They
Fluffy
coming that
Show.
month.
Listen, I don't know about y'all, but I like Gabriel Iglesias, otherwise known as
Oh, Gabriel.
Gabriel Iglesias. I
Mm-hmm.
like him. Fluffy. He's coming to Birmingham.
He is. He hilarious.
And
He BJCC?
he gonna be here at the end of the month.
End of the month. I ain't gonna be here. All right. I'm trying to get my show game back up. I finally went to go see Tank and the Bangers the other day.
Oh my, yeah, she was at the thing. Oh crap, she was at
Saturn.
Saturn.
Yeah, I was at Saturn. So
Oh,
great show.
I know.
Feet hurt, knees not working, probably. Kind of cold. And that was my like first show since COVID started. Quite awkward for me. And baby, quite an awkward experience. Like we were having fun, but then it got to the point where we was like, yeah, there's a lot of people in this smaller space. Not fooling with it.
See,
But
I've only been to one show and I was 15 when I went, so I haven't been to a show in a decade.
oh no. My first ever show was a Rihanna concert that I had a chaperone. I was very upset.
Mine was a Trey Songz
Oh,
concert.
I wasn't upset that I was at a Rihanna concert, but so I was like a high school. I may have been like 16 at the time. What, like 16, 17. Me going to see Rihanna live? Yes, of course. At that time. This one she had just came back out with the red hair. Yeah, I was losing my mind at that time. But my first actual like show, Louisiana Fest in New Orleans, 2019. Amazing. Then I saw Crit at Iron City in November. And I was on this, I'm finna go on this concert, world tour. I'm finna go out and explore, go to new venue, COVID, lockdown. God was like, sit down somewhere. My bad. I just want to live life, Jesus. Shut up. No, you
my
didn't.
my first and only show was Trey Songz concert, and I was 15, and it was a Christmas
Oh,
gift.
and you should not have been there.
I shouldn't have, but I was. I had an adult. My auntie took me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
And I think
She
that's
there for him
when
too.
I think that's when Chapter 5 came out, and I think that's the last thing I ever listened to by him. Because everything after
Uh,
Chapter 5 is just not good. Anyway, I don't listen to that music
man,
anymore. So
you ain't missing nothing.
I know. But El Varner was there and Miguel was there too.
You talking about what her one song?
No, El Varner had a record at that time. That sounds old. She had a record.
That girl said she had a record.
She had an
She still
album.
only had that one hit.
No,
She had that one
no.
hit. I'm sorry.
She had an album. No, she had an album. It is a great.
I feel
It's a great album.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying.
She was supposed to have another album come out like in 2014, and it never came out, and I was upset.
Yeah, I ain't seen it since.
She had like 2 or 3 songs of it like come out. One was with Wale, another was with.
I do remember something about a Wale song with her. I do remember that.
They're like still on YouTube.
That's crazy.
But that album itself never came out. It was
never
called
came back
Four
out.
Letter Word, and every song was 4-letter. It was a 4-letter word. Every song title was a four-letter word. Where it's supposed to be.
That's some good marketing.
Yes.
But
Anyway.
she ain't marketed. But go ahead.
Anyway.
It probably is me.
So, we got so off topic. So
No, then we just living life. We was on a kickback vibe, and I had to clown your El Varner vibe.
It's a kickback. It's a kickback. We gotta keep remembering, like this is basically a kickback to help people understand that the church is full of people just like you.
Yep. Listen, we had a whole sermon based off anime. We can talk about anything.
So this week we are finishing up our his and hers segment with part 2. So last week we got into our experiences and what the world has taught us about what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman, but we were speaking from the perspective of the opposite sex. So what the world told me as a woman that a man should be, and what the world told Jay as a man that a woman should be.
You know, I ain't really listening too much. I was weird, bro. Maybe I wasn't weird, but I was different.
I listened. I ain't even gonna say I didn't listen. I listened, but it was more of a subconscious listen. Like I didn't realize like I was going along with things until I was too deep into things.
I don't think I really went along with nothing except for sex, and even then that was weird. But there's that.
I think. Anyway.
Rabbit hole. Dig it out.
So this week,
Tango, fire. Tango.
This week we're gonna look at what the Bible teaches us that a man should be, and as we're growing closer to Christ, what God is revealing to us what a man
I'm finna go on a rant.
or a woman should be. So
I'm gonna go on a rant. I already feel it.
Yeah, and it's
there's a particular part that I gotta go on a rant about.
And there's a particular part I gotta go on a rant about too. So you started last time.
In a rant? Oh, you talking about went first?
You went first last episode. Okay, so I'll go first this episode.
Yep.
So,
What
from
God told you about the XY chromosome.
so what God told me about the XY chromosome is really the XY chromosome and the XX chromosome do the same thing. We really supposed to be the same in all honesty. And what I mean by that is we are supposed to
Mm-hmm.
possess the same characteristics and operate in the same way within a relationship in our own respects. What that means is, yes, a woman is to be submissive, but so is a man.
I'm finna be on that rant. Don't get the rant started too soon. Put that back. Put that back. No.
Yes,
I get.
and
I'm finna rant.
it means yes, a woman is to be nurturing, but so is a man. If you look at if the
X.
word tells if the word says that men are to love their wives as Christ loves the church, Christ loves the church in a way that he leads, but he is also nurturing in his own way. And the church is meant to nurture, be nurturing to other as the church we are to be nurturing to our brothers and sisters, and we are also to be
We have
representative
not
of
done a good
Christ.
job of.
Yeah, we haven't. And that's a big part of this show. Um, I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. Yesterday was another day that I had a breakdown, and the breakdown was about the show. Because in all honesty, I was really, really ready to give up the show. Um, and it was because I got to a point where I was more concerned about what people thought of the show. I was more concerned about what other people thought, rather than being who God told us to be. And
Right.
so I was like, I listened to all these other podcasts and they don't sound we don't sound like them and all this other stuff. And I was at work, and so
And
I work
who
in a
said we were supposed to sound like everybody else? Mm.
exactly, but also I was I work in a gym that has saunas, and I stepped into a sauna and broke down.
Let the word get to you.
and
Which,
and then I said, God, I don't know what to do. I give it to you. If you want me to put it down, I'll put it down. I don't know what to do at this point.
now
I
you
feel
know
like,
he ain't gonna let you do that.
now listen, the word that he gave me is what sparked me texting you about the series, because he reminded me that we are supposed to be able to represent him in a way where people know that he is still accessible to them
In a lot of different forms.
in a lot of different forms. You don't have to be perfect to be part of his church. That's not what the church is for. The church is not meant for you to be perfect. It's not meant for you to be high and mighty and arrogant. It's meant for you to come into a space where you can be nurtured to the fullness of who you are in Christ, and
Mhm.
also be able to fellowship with others, and also be able to be that to others. And
Mhm.
yeah, we'll get there next week. That's when we'll start the series. And we'll talk
Mhm.
more about it. Um, but yeah, as as a woman and as a man, we are to be essentially the same in our own respects, in our own regards. And so I looked up, because Google. I Googled
Ooh.
like what the Bible says, um, what the Bible says a man should be. Um, and so it says a true man is like Jesus, obedient to the Father's will and is about his Father's business. As men and
Whew.
women, we are supposed to be like that. As men and women, not just a man, but as men and women, we are supposed to be like that. We are both supposed to be obedient to the Father's will. We are both supposed to be about our Father's business. When we come together in marriage, it's not about our feelings all the time. It is because we understand that we are both in agreement, in a covenant to be on a mission about our Father's business.
Facts. Had a conversation about that today.
And what that means is in producing our children, we are also on a mission to be about our Father's business through our parenting, understanding that what we sow into our children, they will take into the world and sow into the people that come after them or the people that they're connected to. And we have to make sure that what we
Lead a
are
child in the way they should
they
go.
should go. And so we have to make sure that as parents, as a husband, as a wife, as a mother, as a father, as a friend, as a brother, as a sister, we are sowing the seeds that God is sowing inside of us. And even then, to make sure that those seeds, because the next part that it talks about is, where is it?
Be fruitful.
No, there's a part that stood out to me. Where is it? Okay. So 1 Corinthians 16, 13 through 14 says, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be men of courage, be strong, do everything in love. According to these verses, a true man is vigilant against danger. What that means is you have to be on guard about what you are letting in because you are aware of how it can affect you and therefore affect other people. I talk about that all
Especially
the
your
time.
girl.
I talk about that all the time. And as a woman, you have to be aware of how that can affect your man. You got to be aware of the friends that you got. I'm sorry, but that friend that you got that's single that want to go to the club all the time, I am sorry. That may not work, sis.
You get caught up in some stuff you don't want.
Exactly. Not saying you can't have fun, but you have to understand, you have to then sit down and break down why is this considered fun? What about going to the club all the time is considered fun? Or this friend, oh yeah, this friend gets to meet all these dudes and dance on all these
Not
dudes all the time, or be with the, or she gets her pick of the litter or whatever. She's trying to
when
go
you
out.
already have a pick.
You already have a pick. You got your man at home, and
And
so
he at
now
home. Let me see how let me go. He at home. He
you have to
chilling.
be aware of the in any situation, single or not, married or not, you got to be aware of the friends that you're picking. You have to be aware of the friends that you have in your life,
Of the company that you
of the
keep.
company that you keep, because they have a role in your life as well in regards to how you interact with other people and how you are of service to other people or how you are not of service to other people. And men, the same is true for y'all. Y'all be very
Homeboys.
be wary of the company that you keep. Yo, boys, make sure you ain't got no boys who are lustful all the time and who are like, hey, bro, look at that girl. Or if you do have friends with lustful eyes, have a conversation with them and say, bro, like, why? And you ain't got to do it from a judgmental place, but be like, you know what? Why I got to look at her? Why are you looking at her? What's your intent in looking at her? Do you know that that's a child of God? That's somebody's daughter. Why are we violating her with our eyes?
Doing more than that.
Ladies, same for you. Why are you violating this man with your eyes? And that's when God had to check me for.
Cause it's fun.
And I do it all the time. I be like, I
They
be
look at us like that. Why we can't look
no,
at them like that? First of
like
all, that's
where
not a good
I've gotten
example.
to with it is I just look and I be like, God, you made a good looking man. I'm gonna walk away. And that's really what I have to do. And that's just because I know, like, again, self-awareness. That's something that God is revealing to me. Like, my eyes are lustful before I am physically lustful. And so now if I see a good looking man, I gotta start praying.
Hey,
Because if I
I
don't,
understand.
because I have to make sure that my mind stays on God and does not wander. But
I'd be so happy some days. I'd be like, thank God had brought me baby, because I boy, it's an easy deterrent. You'd be like, oh, that's a girl. She ain't mine. I just turn. I
she
to
ain't mine.
evolve.
And see,
She ain't mine.
being single is some different and also a little bit dangerous because it's like
Because it's
it,
wide open.
that
It's
could be
wabbit season.
some will come to your mind and be like, that could be. And you're like, no.
Nope.
But
That's
it
why I
could
had to
be,
pray.
but no.
Oh, that's why I had to pray. I told you, being spiritually slow. Lord, if this ain't my person, let me know. I
Absolutely.
need I need indicators. I'm gonna say it all the time. I'm slow. I need an indicator. Cause boy, you be out here floating thinking everybody supposed to be your person.
Exactly.
Every time you come across somebody, be like, yeah, that's my, yeah, it could be. Let me see what they're about. Nah, then you be in some trash dating situations, or be caught up in some other situations that you ain't supposed to be in. Dangerous.
But yeah, and even
I don't
again,
know if you ever saw it, but go ahead. My bad. I tell you in a
I
minute.
was just gonna say again for men and women, like we're supposed to be the same, even in regards to leadership. We are still supposed, as women, we're still supposed to lead in our own right. We're leaders for our children, and we are also
And leaders in the country, shout out Justice Brown.
oh good.
Yeah.
We're not to be like lower than the man, and we're not to be like don't listen.
My other
Bible
rant.
don't say the Bible don't say that women aren't supposed to do anything. We're created to help. Um,
And we be needing it. Good
and
God.
also when you look at like the Proverbs 31 woman, don't get it twisted. The Proverbs 31 woman is an entrepreneur,
Whole leader.
whole leader, business leader.
Handling bid
And so
needs.
even in that way, the man is not the only person making money. Now, if that's y'all, if y'all have dynamics like that, or if you want to be part of a dynamic like that, where the man is the only person making money, that's your business. That's you. But what I'm saying is,
And that's your business.
a lot of people have misunderstood the Bible and have made it seem like, oh, the Bible says that women can't work. That's not what the Bible says at all.
Oh, oh, you get into the traditional woman, modern woman conversation. Interesting.
Yeah, because yeah, um, because even that goes back to how the Bible has been misconstrued. The Bible has been misconstrued in so many ways, and one of the ways is disrupting the language between men and women.
Yep.
And something that my dad talked to me about, I was talking to my mom about this recently, and we got into the conversation regarding the denominations. But the way that my dad explained it to me is, I think I mentioned this on the last episode. Um, in order to no, there's a war tactic where you have to separate people according to language in order
Yeah.
to make sure that they can't
That's a war line. That's a war
yeah,
tactic.
in order to make sure that they can't cause an uprising against you.
Yeah, that's how they did in slavery.
And that is an enemy, that is a tactic of the enemy as well, but he used it again, he used it in the garden first
Yep.
and caused that division between man and woman. So now men don't trust women, women don't trust men.
And we both look stupid doing it.
We
I'm
both
gonna
look
keep it a buck.
stupid. We both
We
look
both be
stupid
looking
because
stupid
we're
doing it.
fighting each other, and that's exactly what he wants. What we have right now, where y'all have this men ain't ish, women ain't ish, so treat them like this, whatever. Those situations, and we look stupid. We look stupid because all it's doing,
The battle of the sexes is
the
stupid.
battle of the sexes is on many fronts. Like, listen, women's rights. Great. I love it. Awesome.
Talking about toxic masculinity and the patriarchy, we understand.
We get it. I understand.
But
I
why y'all got that in your
understand
house?
the disparities. I understand. However, there is something larger that needs to be fought. And something, again, that both men and women need to do is put down your egos. Stop worrying about, I'm a woman and I'm this and I'm that and I go
There's
through
a
this, that,
bigger
and the
enemy
third.
afoot.
Stop having these oppression Olympics.
Ooh.
And understand that all that is doing is causing chaos, causing a miscommunication, and causing you to miss the reality that who you're really supposed to be fighting is winning and having the authority over you and over your mind and over where your mind is focused on. Because your mind is not
And
focused
I,
on your mind. You and this is the trick of it. You think that your mind, especially with this the men versus women, unpopular opinion, say what you want, but you think your mind is focused on equality and unity
uh-oh.
when it divides you more than ever if you really pay attention.
All right, what you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Write it down.
So what I mean is you think that the conversation is about unity, and when we listen, we can all look at the world and see how men have treated women through centuries, how women have been treated. We see it. I get it. But I also understand that there is another force that is the reason for that. And when you
Oh,
get,
you talking about creating the chaos for other reasons.
yes, and when you get so caught up in this person did this to me, and I don't want to say playing victim, but
No, you can't say that because it wouldn't be actually playing
it
victim.
wouldn't be playing victim, but like it's like this, it gets to be the same old song after a while, honestly. Like it's like, okay,
There's
there's
no
no
resolve in
progress,
it.
like there's no resolve. It's just like
We're gonna keep talking about it and keep
we
going, gonna
gonna
keep
keep,
going, keep going.
yeah, we gonna keep talking about it, keep going, we gonna keep creating more
Well,
division, more problems. Okay, so what's the resolve? The word, okay,
well,
yes, I think people need to really understand, because I'm not trying to be like you too heavenly bound that you don't know no earthly good. I get the earthly things, but I really think people too often dwell too much on the earthly things to the point where they can't see what the real thing is and
right.
understand that it has two parts. It's not just earthly, it's other stuff taking place. And then part of that goes into, well, everybody don't believe that. Tactic of the enemy number two, because even that is a miscommunication or an inability to understand and come together in understanding.
I see that this was the tangent you were trying to go on.
No, this was actually was not.
Oh, okay, it's a bonus.
I didn't really expect to go here. Um,
Huh.
but yeah, take a step back. I can't stand when we had them long pauses in the episode, but
Listen,
from
if
my
you have
perspective,
process.
what I really think is, as men and as women, we need to both sit down and understand, yes, we have roles in it. We have roles in how things have turned out on a physical realm, but we also need to understand that from a spiritual level, things have
Mhm.
contributed to that. And in order to get a hold of it on the physical level, we have to first get a hold of it on the spiritual level and see what that thing is and call the thing what it is and say, okay, I'm not going to allow this thing to rule over me, to have control over me. And I'm not going to let this thing rule how I live my life, because I know that in the end, that's what the enemy wants, because it's going to get me out of step with what God wants for me. Don't misunderstand me. I'm all for women's rights. I'm all for justice and equality and things like that. But I also understand that there is something larger that has contributed to the problem, or not larger, but there is something on a spiritual level that has contributed to the problems that we see today. And I think getting caught up in pointing the finger causes everybody to miss that. But that's not the tangent that I wanted to go on. The tangent, the rant that I wanted to have was, or it's not even a rant, just something that God has revealed to me, just as I've been studying and just through my own life experiences. As women, we are not to be the pursuers or the aggressors. I have had many situations where I have always been the pursuer or the aggressor. Um, and it's, I think it's because we live in a time where like many men don't necessarily know how to approach women. And it's whether they weren't taught how or whatever the case may be. I just think too many men are not held accountable in opening their mouths and putting in the effort for what they want. And either it's made women feel like they have to be the pursuer or they have to be the one to do it all, or it's
Yeah,
made,
we slow. That don't need that, but we slow. I'm gonna tell you this right now. We not as bright as y'all make us out to be. Can we? Yeah, let's stop that narrative. Hold on. Time out. Flag on the play. I'm
okay,
gonna
go
go nip
ahead.
that in the bud right now. We ain't bright. Let me tell you something. And I done said this a bunch of times with some of my female friends, and they get it some days. Women complicate how men really are. And I mean this in the loving way by saying, you make the simple seem complex. And it ain't that way.
But who has
In
time
the
to deal
same
with
way,
y'all being slow? Like,
and hold on. See, now you're getting in your feelings, Dave. What I'm talking about. I'm saying there's a communication clash between the sexes. And
you
the
just mentioned
main one
something.
I see is women treat men as if they are complex when they are simple, and men treat women as if they are simple when they are complex.
Okay.
And because of that, we on both sides of the fence end up having communication clashes based off the idea that we're thinking in our form of the sex towards the other. Men ain't complicated at all.
Oh, I
We
know
might
that
be a
much.
little
I
deep from
know
time to
that much.
time, but even when it comes to communication and reaching across the aisle, bruh, half of the time, and even this, from a biological standpoint, if we want to get scientific, our brains really don't be on like that. Like when it comes to the part about women start shooting your shot, it's gonna be the aggressor. It's not being an aggressor. Yeah, I get it. But the reasoning Nah, we ain't that complex. We slow. And to be honest, we slow because we don't care in that moment. And the thing about it is, it's almost
No,
like we're supposed to because we should be dating or going out and doing this, that, and that. Men do not care.
no, that's not what I mean. Like what I was going to, as there are men out there who I have met and interacted with them. There are men out there who prefer for the woman to speak up first, to approach them.
Now, where does that come from? That's a different
And that's what
conversation.
and that's what I was getting ready to talk about.
But what? Because there's a couple different reasons I can give you on why that happens. But go ahead if you think you got it.
Okay, so like I said, um, I think too many men are just come from situations where they're not held accountable and opening their mouths and putting in the effort
What do
for
you
what they
mean?
want. Like you said in the last episode, you talked about how y'all are taught that y'all are just supposed to get what, like, just have whatever you want.
Uh-huh. Right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm thinking me. Never mind. Remove me out of the situation because
Right. It's not just like
I'm
not
weird.
just you. There are other men who are not like
No, I'm
you.
not talking about. I'm not saying that I'm trying to center the whole conversation about me. I in that moment I had a thought and I was like, well, no.
But yeah, a lot of men come from situations where they're not held accountable, or they don't have to do too much, and
Mhm.
stuff just falls in their lap. And like I said, I've interacted with people like that where they just felt like they didn't have to do too much. I have interacted with many men who say things like, I want a low maintenance woman, quote unquote, which basically means you don't want to do nothing.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you think that is a majority or a minority?
I'm just saying, like, for this particular type of man. I don't know if
Okay,
it's a majority or a minority. I'm just saying for this particular type of man.
gotcha. I was just asking.
Um,
Are we doing like male archetypes?
I mean, we
Like
can.
the way you?
This is just,
I'm just saying the way you explaining it.
I mean, we can. And
Okay,
no,
cool. I was
we
just
not
like,
going into that alpha male type stuff. Like,
heck no, I got better things to do. Okay,
we, we ain't doing that.
I, I got better things to do. No, please spare me, Lord. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That just made me bad.
Okay. Um, but yeah, I think particularly for, well, you know what, I will say there's a generation of men coming up who they don't pursue for reasons of they don't want to face the rejection, which comes from the self-esteem thing, um, or
Both don't.
or um, they don't know how to take no for an answer, which can pose to be a dangerous situation just because there have been men
Facts.
who have approached women and the women has said no, and it
And
has gone
they treat
terribly
it as that
wrong.
don't even exist. Yeah, you got them weirdos.
Yeah.
Calling weirdos today. Yeah, I want to call it something else, but you know.
And me and women are no longer here because of situations like that. Because men can't
Mm-hmm.
because there are some men who just can't take no for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
For sure. Countless and we know some.
and it's just like they have no problem being the rejector, but can't take even the possibility of being rejected. And you need some Jesus and some therapy. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
I think in those situations, it comes from being taught again that your masculinity lies so heavily in your ability to get women. And once you tie your identity to that, if a woman tells you no, it's like she is stripping you of your identity, and then you just take it to the extreme.
That emasculating part that don't
Yeah,
exist.
which she's not even trying to do. She's just telling you no.
She's just saying, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
No, I don't like you, weirdo.
And then even in those situations, like, so take the okay. Some guys will say like, I want a woman to pursue because it shows me that she knows what she wants. And that's there. I guarantee there are other ways for you to know that a woman knows what she wants. I.e., she will tell you, "No, I don't want you."
In those ways, depends on who you're talking to. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just for me, what I've learned is because I have been the pursuer. I have been the pursuer for a number of reasons. Because one, I was approaching guys who either did not like me or they just didn't know how to pursue.
I'm tell you, slow.
But then all that shows me is for myself what I've learned, and that is the type of man that I want.
Which I would say thins out the crowd rather quick.
I need you to know how to pursue, sir. and it's just because for me, what that says is if you know how to pursue, like if you're supposed to be the leader, how you gonna lead and you can't lead our relationship. You can't take the lead on our relationship, but you want me to trust you to lead beyond, like in a marriage or in a family. Because I know there's folks out there that date for fun. I don't do that.
After a while, that's just problematic. Like going out on dates is cool, but like you got to date with some type of intention. But I mean, I feel like that also messes up things too. That's a whole nother tangent because some folks be out here dating for fun when people got intentions and that be messing folks up for real.
Yeah, been there, done that. I have been the one with the intention and dating people who just want to date for fun. It's not fun. It's only fun for you. It's not fun.
Yeah, because once that person found out you had no intent whatsoever, boy, it is a waste of time that you cannot get back. And emotion, because boy, people be developing feelings.
And that goes back to a conversation that we've had. Like that's selfish. That's very selfish to go into something and say like I'm just dating for fun. If you are, let them know that. Tell somebody that. Give them the option.
Let them know that from the jump. Please let them know. Because you don't know who they listen, that I ain't gonna lie, that type of stuff be creating psychos.
It does. Tell them from the jump what it is.
That's on both sides.
On both, that's true.
Psychos.
That's on both sides. Tell them I'm just doing this for fun. Tell them I just want to be with somebody, if that's the case.
Now I would say this. Going back into the example of that, I don't know if that's that particular man or like that style of communication when it comes to dating and pursuit, shall I say.
Mm-hmm.
What I have learned, especially after being in the world for so long and being around these, I'm gonna say something, individuals we call men or males or boys, or whatever we talk about. There's this clear distinction between boy and man. Get that out there very rather quickly, because there are, I would say, the age comes. People think age is a maturity problem. No, and that sometimes comes across in dating where I'll be like, all right, I have seen men not pursue but the reasoning was not based on they did not know per se, or they feel like they should always receive. But they may be viewed as these type of men because they did not pursue, if that makes sense.
They feel like they should always what now?
No, you're saying, you know how you said that they are the men that don't pursue due to the fact they don't know or think that they should always get though that particular style of man.
Mm-hmm.
No, there are men that are lumped into that category due to the fact they did not pursue, and there are other things attached to it. For
Okay.
instance, I'm just speaking from my experience and men that I didn't talk to.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things I have seen when it comes to men and pursuit is the miscommunication of how pursuit looks like. That's one.
Okay.
Two, the denial of pursuit. And I'm not talking about rejection per se.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about when women have said they want men to pursue and then change that into thirsty.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Which also make men take a step back, and now they are confused on how to pursue. Then there is the other reason why pursuit is lower, because and then it's just me being a man, I done seen it happen, and I done seen folks go off and get caught up in situations to where pursuit is then labeled as predator.
I've seen that as well.
And that is scary. And it makes you, to a degree, not want to communicate with women at all, because you do not want anything you say to be misconstrued or to be seen as something else.
Okay.
But if you don't know how to approach said things, because I would say this is also another issue in today's day and age, we do not teach proper communication between both sexes anymore, at least with the context of the things that have happened in recent memory. Because personally, just me coming from just my personal experience, it's easier for me to pursue you if we are friends. If I have some type of connection to you, period. This is just me. I cannot do random dating because it's just me. I gotta know we click in some ways to where I want to hang out with you, period, before I even want to date you type situations.
But honestly, I think that's the way that's supposed to be. I think we, for some reason, like we have this idea that we automatically have to date somebody that we see and find attractive. Like we instantly see them from a romantic lens instead of first trying to get to know them just as a friend. Can I be friends with you first? Like, because when we get married, and that if we get married, that attraction and stuff gonna fade probably at some point, because you're not gonna look the same and I'm not gonna look the same. So do I know we got friendship at least? I think that friendship aspect is a layer that has been stripped from dating. And I think it's very valuable.
And that's why I say it's different. But that's not, but in going with that, the reason why I say that is because I would say from certain men's perspectives when it comes to pursuit. No. You guys are.
I was just gonna say, and not because a lot of people they be trying to. The talking phase is not y'all being friends.
First of all, the talking phase is stupid.
That's exactly. Don't try to say, oh, well, what is it if you talk to somebody? Stupid.
Talk to anybody.
Friends, like don't be friends. You might end up realizing, oh, they good as a friend. Like they're good as a friend. Maybe
because I ain't gonna lie, folks then lost out on some good friends because they didn't got in a relationship.
I have. Listen.
I lost out on some good friends
because
I got in a relationship
feelings that got involved.
Mm-hmm.
My hormones then got involved.
Or either it's just that,
or I just saw it wrong.
Right.
And
That's the thing.
I instantly jumped, or
Or you just lost a friend due to a breakup period.
hurt was leading me. A trauma was leading me, and I
Hmm.
acted on that because I was lonely, and I allowed that to lead me when really God was probably just trying to put a good friend in my life.
Facts, boy. And also, you don't have to date everybody that come across you. Sometimes you
You
only
don't.
supposed to be a seed in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at certain relationships. I was like, I was just supposed to be a seed, not trying to. Never mind. Anyway, but what I was saying, based off that situation, is just when I ran across men who don't pursue, there is the archetype that you was explaining. That
Mm-hmm.
archetype exists. I would say from personal experience, and just you can see it a lot of times from just percentages of men and stuff like that. That archetype is really the minority. They just loud
It's just loud.
because them the ones like you know how they say the loud minority, like they loud, they loud. A lot of
Yeah,
men really just don't know, or either are scared to based off these current situations, or
right.
they just don't know. Like you will shoot a shot. Like I have learned this is also true, and this comes out of that particular archetype you showed. You know, they want women to pursue first
Mm-hmm.
because I have seen this just, and this is just me, and I feel like this is what I just encountered. Men get tired of shooting their shots for stuff that don't make sense or won't work entirely. Like, do you like me? Yes or no? Like, it get back to like you know, childhood. He go to no. Do you like me? Yes or no? And then to pursue type situations.
But I
Like
think
we passing the card around.
even that, I think as children we had it right. That's what you're supposed to do. Do you like me? Yes or no?
And I feel like that, but I feel like some men are like that when it comes to women because there are two people in this situation. And women, a lot some women like men shoot they shot. I say they pursue. They've been pursued a lot to the point where everything sounds the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like, eh, I don't know how to approach you due to the fact that I don't want to sound like everybody else. But then I also want you to understand that I am trying to approach you. So there's a conundrum. And men get stuck there sometimes. And that's when we think too much. Is when we really trying to figure out how to navigate, how to communicate with women that have not shown interest. Because now we like, all right, so how do I do this without looking like a creep? For one, big
Okay.
that's a big thing. That like I said, the other archetype of men is minority. A lot of men really don't want to come across as creeps because the one thing I have noticed is a world span, men can be labeled as a lot of things,
Yeah.
but a predator is the worst. They will take murderer before predator.
Murderers are predators.
But I mean, no, I mean, you know what I mean by that.
I know. I know.
As far as predator, like men would take any other label except for certain men, and that is predator and racist. They can they can be anything else. You can say you ain't nothing but a pile of trash, and they will kick their feet up and be like, all right, well, I'm the landfill.
You said racist, and I just
Like the main thing that some men do not want to be, and the majority of men do not want to be, is a predator and racist. And to
men
be honest,
didn't
racist
come
is
to
only
my
for one
mind.
particular archetype of man.
Men
Just saying.
didn't come to my mind when I heard racist. Women did.
Look.
It's because of the Karens and Susans. No offense,
Yep.
but
But the thing about it is we have Kevins.
yeah.
We have Kevins and Chris's
But even then, like
and Alexanders.
what came to my mind was people get more offended by being called a racist than actually being a racist.
Yeah.
That's what came to my mind when you say racist. But and
And that's why I was like, especially
imagine this white woman screaming and
why did
saying,
I just
"I'm
hit one
not
dots
a
when you said that?
racist."
But like I said, that's the reason like racist is more for one particular type of man. But like real talk, one of the things that most men do not want to be like known as, talked about as, or found out to be is a predator.
Yeah.
And that's what makes, because especially I would say in recent years, because more of women's stories have been coming out of how men have done things to them or have said crazy things to them and different types of stuff. It makes men who are vigilant of these things very cautious,
Okay. So what's the resolve?
because now, and that's the reason why someone want the women to pursue. It is the reason why Bumble exists.
Why can't why?
Because sometimes the resolve for some men is, let me see if she's interested and then I will know to pursue, because it's almost like consent. Yes,
Well, yeah.
okay. And some men look at that change of pursuit of women pursuing more than men type thing. Some, not saying all, but there's a
Mhm.
group of men that I have talked to that's just like, and I've heard people say out their mouth, I feel like it's safer when a woman pursues first because then I know. And not because they're slow, but because it's like consent. That is the green light of go. She said yes, I will then pursue. I see that she likes me, so now I will pursue. And it's not just only because men are lazy and don't want to do, there is a safety issue there.
Okay. I can see that.
And if your man is really out there thinking about how to approach women, that's one reason. Now, the other reason, miscommunication. A woman may think they have communicated one thing and did not. And that is facts.
Yeah.
I have had friends and women come to me having conversations. Well, I did this and he didn't get it. And I tell you, of course he didn't get it, because that don't mean that.
To
Well,
you.
he should have known. How? No,
To
no, 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 no.
you.
No, 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 no. That's the thing about that. To you, how you gonna try to communicate to a man what that's
I
supposed to
know.
mean, and the man gonna process this way? That means it only means that to you, because he didn't get it. And I'd be like, y'all overcomplicating it, because that don't mean that in the man's world. That's what I'm saying. In the man's world, in the man's head, it means that to you on how a man should feel in the woman's world. No. I've had many with my female friends say, well, I did this and that, and he just did this and that. That ain't what I wanted. Why didn't you say what you wanted then?
That's true. I think as women, we definitely have to speak up. Yes.
Because this mind reader stuff is stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know why y'all think we so smart to be Professor Xavier out here thinking we mind readers. We are dumb.
It's like a double. It's like a double-edged sword, because it's just like, on one hand,
All right, y'all. I know it's
well,
getting
no, I
good,
think
but
there
we're
can
going to
be
cut it
balance.
right here and pick back up next week. Don't forget to share and connect with us. Peace.